right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this regular called meeting of the Temple City Council. We're glad you're here. Happy New Year, right? It's almost the middle of the month, but it's been almost a month since we've met as a council. So glad you're here. Please rise as Chaplain Sunday. We'll right up here, sir, to the microphone. Will lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge, led by City Secretary Jana Lou Elvin.
Let us pray. Our dear God in heaven, the maker of all things, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the life and resurrection. We thank you so much for giving us life to see the new year. Thank you for how you took care of us throughout last year. Thank you for how you guided our council members and the mayor throughout last year to lead us aright. We pray, Lord, that you lead them all with wisdom in this new year, that all the policies they will bring unto us will be the right one to your own glory. Father, bless all of us who have sacrificed our time to come here and help us to continue to support the city in different ways. They do things to promote the good living of this city, Lord. Thank you for everything. Forgive us our sins and listen to us. For we have prayed in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you both very much. Next item is public comments. You must have signed up prior to this meeting. We've got 4 folks that have signed up to speak tonight. As always, we ask you keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. And also, please understand that no discussion or final action will be taken. First, we will have Mr. Jack Folsom. Thank you for that.
How are y'all this afternoon?
Good, sir.
I'm Jack Folsom. I live at 5141 Gun Club Road here in Temple. I'm here today. I have a house at 1320 South 23rd. It's a greenhouse next to the Ralph Wilson Youth Club. And in May and June of last year, they emptied that water tower, and it's a pier and beam home, and they flooded that house both times. I filed the appropriate claims. I requested the phone calls, the recordings, and all that's been denied. The claim was denied, which is fine. I'm just whining a little bit because I'm putting it back together, get a tenant back in it, so it's been a number of months. But I would ask that someone just check that, and next time they drain that water tower, have someone monitor it or something. Because I'm left with a house with no tenant and having to redo the complete house, so. But my claim was denied because evidently, even if there was, what's the word I'm looking, even if it was negligence, the city's immune. I get all that, so. But I just wanted to whine to somebody, and that's what I'm doing here, so that was it.
Well, thank you.
1320 South 23rd. I'm redoing it, but anyway, I just need some help if they do it again. Thank you.
You bet. Sorry that happened, Jack. Next up is David Barrows.
We haven't seen you in a while.
I'm trying to stay out of the papers.
Okay.
I think the mayor's happy with him. I have some updated copies that I wanted to give to the secretary. The narrative has changed a little bit, and I apologize for leaving several folks out. The narrative has changed, but the content is the same. I would like to thank the technology department for helping out this evening, and I say good evening to all of you. My name is David Franklin Barrows, and I live at 7615 McCulloch Road in Temple, Texas, 76502. Please show slide number 1. There it is. Okay, we need your help. I live in the reserve at South Pea Ridge on McCulloch Road, a community south of Hogan and off of South Pea Ridge. Note the darkened area, which is McCulloch Road, and of how it connects to the lower road leading to 4 other streets. Please show McCulloch Road. This is McCulloch Road during the day when traffic is light. Please show McDonald from McCulloch and number 9. Halfway down McCulloch is McDonald connecting Hickman and McCulloch, where numerous mailboxes stand. As such, vehicles enter McCulloch from Hickman or McDonald from McCulloch, visiting their mailbox and then on to home or other destinations. Recently, a vehicle passing several children playing basketball, turning left onto McDonald, ran over their basketball. The driver failed to stop and acknowledge it. Please show Hickman to South Pea Ridge. Adding to the traffic count on McCulloch are vehicles not wanting to exit Hickman onto South Pea Ridge due to limited sight distance. Whether residents are leaving the area or coming home, children walk to or from the mailbox area in the morning for their bus and in the afternoon from school buses, scattering in all directions. Please show slide number 8. As a result of our road's east-west orientation, the morning sun and glare has contributed to close calls and 1 serious accident on McCulloch. And I need you to understand that this is early in the season. A little later in the season, the sun will be directly at the end of the road, and it happens twice a year. Yet vehicles still accelerate quickly while children congregate, ride bicycles, scooters, and play in the street. Pedestrians walking pets, walking for exercise, mothers pushing carriages with children and handicapped, and seniors attempting to back into McCulloch all become targets as vehicles pass quickly by, and sight distance is hindered by parked vehicles. Entering McCulloch from Pea Ridge, no speed sign is posted, resulting in higher rates of speed ignoring caution. Many vehicles turning right onto McCulloch from McDonald do so without stopping at the posted stop sign. In essence, a dangerous residential traffic pattern exists. Please show number 5. Thank you. One idea is a traffic monitoring device like the one used on West Avenue Z, another residential area which also employs a speed-reducing hump. Please show the hump. This tool, a hump close to the intersection of McDonald and McCulloch roads, would impact vehicle speeds. Several locations within residential areas of the city have incorporated their use to successfully slow traffic. A speed limit of 20 miles per hour could be set, warning of the presence of children. In the interest of safety where foot traffic occurs, I am asking our city government, through the city council, to consider our need and seek a solution. Thank you for your time, patience, and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone know if a traffic study's been done? That would be reasonable to request that. You bet. Thank you, sir. Next up is Mr. Alan Lytle. Alan, it's good to see you again, brother. It's been a while.
You were out and about on Tuesday. You're getting around now.
Yep. Hopefully it'll last.
Yes, sir.
Alan Lytle, live here in Temple at 504 Paseo del Plata. I just wanted to visit with you tonight. I'm sure you've all been watching the news and seen what happened to our officer over in Coppers Cove. So I just wanted to come up here and remind everyone that our brave young men and women of the Temple PD are out there every day protecting us and putting their lives on the line. So next time you see one, be sure and stop them and thank them for their service. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Well said. That is a very, very sad event over there in Cove. Not necessary at all. Next, Jerry Lynn Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was speaking.
Miss Brown, Miss Brown, Miss Brown. you don't have to speak. This happens frequently. You just thought you were just signing up to come to the meeting, and you actually signed up to speak. But if you don't have anything to say, then you're okay. Well, then let's go. All right, I'm sorry. Would it be about salmons?
Yes, it is.
I thought it might be. Come on.
It certainly is. We've been waiting now for 2 years for something to happen. I happen to be a user of the pool more so than the community center itself, and it was always a treat to leave swimming, go and meet with my fellow seniors in a place where we had everything in one place, where we had classrooms and everything, and now we're scattered all over the
Yes, ma'am.
city. I have a question of the council, and I was wondering, I know that the city is insured by Texas Municipal League. I would feel like they have paid off on the claims by now, and I'm hoping that that money remains earmarked for the restoration or rebuilding of salmons. I know that we have other facilities on the eastern side of town, such as Wilson and other areas, but we don't have anything like that on the western side. And salmon is very centrally located for everybody, and some of the areas would be very hard for the elderly to get to at night, and maybe a little bit more dangerous. So we'd like you to consider or give us a timeline of when we might expect something to be done.
Yes, so just real quickly, and I don't have a timeline for you. It's a very complicated process. But we're, every day, it's being talked about, considered, and experts are being brought in to take a look at the building. Basically, what it boils down to is that the cost to rebuild, brand new, is equal to the cost to fix what's there. But to rebuild is more complicated than to just fix what's there. So we're working through that. We know, I have been pleasantly surprised, but still very surprised at the folks that have come forward and said what an integral part of their day that community center has been.
That's right.
And I think one of the things that's been so great is that it was large enough that it could host lots of events at once.
right.
So there's a lot of camaraderie in the building, and even though the programs are still in place, they're spread out all over town. And so to your point, you enjoyed swimming and then coming over and seeing your friends, and whatever program that your friend is now part of, she may be doing that somewhere else. So it's, we know that the synergy is not there. We're very aware of that. Had lots of complaints and concerns. Letter to the editor today about it, in fact. But this council is aware of that, and we're figuring out the best way to fix that, the fastest way that we can.
Thank you, because most of the activities taking place now are at the Gober House, and it's just
Not
not
big enough.
adequate, it's
Yeah.
not big enough.
Yeah.
And we'd really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Next is it Belinsky?
It's me.
Okay. Did I say that right?
Every time, Balchinsky, every time somebody's looking, I know it's me.
Okay. That's fair.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon. I was not expecting to speak, but I will speak. And I want to go ahead and talk also about the Salmons Community Center, but I want to kind of plead with you. Every single one of you, some sooner, some later, looking at you beautiful faces, are going to be a senior citizen. So by helping us right now, you actually will be helping your family and yourself in the future. So again, everybody knows that, this is a great community for us, and a lot of people moved here because of affordability, because of climate, and because of closeness to the beautiful medical facilities. However, we really need the camaraderie, just like you adequately say it. And if you can really make this priority, and we cannot expect from you to rebuild at the same place, but just have this in mind that we need large facilities so we can have a very similar synergy in the building that we had before, because a lot of people struggle and we need to talk to each other, just like you have your group of friends. We have our group of friends. We are not busy with work anymore, but we still have our everyday struggles. So we need to have a large amount of people to go ahead and talk about, how to cook for one or two, or, how to get up in the morning and go and exercise because you might not physically feel that you ready for that, but you go because you know of the benefits, and the list goes on. So once more, please make it a priority this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we appreciate that sentiment. Our next item is to receive the annual report from the Temple Economic Development Corporation. We're going to postpone that report until our next meeting, which will be held February 5th. Item 4 is, I guess I don't have to request we don't have to vote on that. It's just an announcement. Okay. Next is the consent agenda. All items listed under this section, which is called the consent agenda, are considered to be routine by the city council and may be enacted in one motion. If discussion is desired by the council, any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of that council member and will be considered separately. Council, during workshop, we discussed this. It's my understanding that we're not pulling anything from tonight's agenda. Has that changed? All right, then, with that, council, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda, which is items 4A through 4R.
I move to approve the consent agenda items 4A through 4R.
We have a motion by Councilmember Pilkington. We have a second by Councilmember Kirkendall. Council, please cast your vote. Consent agenda passes 5 votes to 0. Next item is the regular agenda. Item 5 is the first reading in a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the 2020 Comprehensive Plan Future Development category from residential and neighborhood services to industrial on plus or minus acres 142.25 acres located in the Maximo Marino Survey, abstract number 14, City of Temple, Bell County, Texas, addressed as 1705 South 30th and 2501 South Martin Luther King Drive. Ms. Strickland.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I have a few items to present to you this evening. 2 of them are connected. The first one is an amendment to the 2020 comp plan from residential neighborhood services to industrial. It comes to you tonight, and it'll go to second reading on February 5th. Just to kind of orient you to where this is located, on the left-hand side of the screen, it's the boundary is the red shape with the blue star in the center. And then on the right-hand side is the aerial. You can see that it is primarily undeveloped land. Just a little background, this is connected to a rezoning request that is going to follow this amendment. The rezoning request is going to be from agricultural and LI to PD LI. As you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, the area is predominantly the residential and neighborhood services that does have some industrial that does abut it. The general area is along Loop 363 and the BNSF Railroad, and it currently abuts the industrial designation. Industrial does call for various zoning districts such as commercial, light industrial, heavy industrial, and planned developments. The proposed development is a light industrial development. Neighboring residential and neighborhood services does remain appropriate for the remainder of the general area, and it remains currently undeveloped. Some additional background from our thoroughfare plan: there are no additional road networks that are proposed through that plan. The industrial designation does request and require more intense development, which is appropriate along highway and railroads. Residential development is not an appropriate use along the highway corridors, so by allowing an industrial designation, it continues on with the current industrial that is located along the highway. And as determined by the 2020 comprehensive plan, as the city and the markets change, so does the future development plan. No public notification is required for comp plan amendments, but we did post a notice of the hearing in the Temple Daily Telegram on December 23rd. And this did go to the Development Review Committee on November 17th, and no issues were identified. Staff does recommend approval of the future development plan change for the 2020 comp plan from residential and neighborhood services to industrial. And this did go to the Planning and Zoning Commission on their January 5th meeting and was recommended approval 8-0. And I'm happy to answer any questions should you have any.
Thank you, ma'am. Counsel, anything for Ms. Strickland? Item 5 is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item may do so. Ask you step to the podium, state your name for the record. Nobody? All right. I will close the public hearing. In council, I'll entertain a motion on item 5.
Make a motion to approve item 5.
Have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Walker, a second by Councilmember Grant. Council, cast your vote. Item 5 passes 5 votes to 0. Item 6 is the first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a rezoning request and binding site development plan request from light industrial to agriculture to planned development light industrial on 269.701 plus or minus acres located in the Maximo Marino Survey, abstract number 14, City of Temple, Bell County, Texas, identified as parcels number 704, 47064, 60489, 31200, 397008, and 127003, and addressed as 3151 Tower Road. Ms. Strickland.
Thank you, Mayor. So a little bit of background, it's a little over 260 acres. As you can see on the screen, it does actually span both sides of Loop 363. It is located west of Loop 363 and east of the railroad and just south of the Crestview Neighborhood Planning District. So light industrial development is proposed for this area, and it is being proposed as a data center. The rough site plan with boundaries and setbacks and the final site plan will be determined at the building permit stage. We do have a rough site plan that has the proposed setbacks of a 100-foot boundary from each property line, as well as 2 proposed entrances off of Loop 363. This is part of a larger economic development that is included for industrial development. And light industrial is in line with the surrounding land use categories. As you can see on the zoning map, it is predominantly surrounded by light industrial and heavy industrial. Some of it is agricultural land at the moment. So it is being proposed from light industrial and agricultural to a planned development LI. So this is just the use page that shows some of the differences of uses that are available in agricultural versus light industrial. There's a variety of uses that are permitted in light industrial zoning district, but one of them is included as a data center. And then the surrounding property area for the future land use plan and its development is primarily undeveloped at the moment. This is now in line with the 2020 comprehensive plan, which does subject this area to more industrial development, and it is in similar designation to surrounding areas. Approval is recommended. It does continue with industrial development in the area, and it complies with the future land use plan. Sorry, I said that twice. So for some site photos, as you can see, it is predominantly undeveloped area. It's indicated in the blue boundary. And then just some site photos, the subject property from Tower Road that's across this, or that's to the east of Loop 363 does have a large landscaping berm. And even when you're on Tower Road looking east at the abutting Loop 363, you can also see the large landscaping berm. And this does continue down the majority of Loop 363 itself. That helps prevent any visibility and site visibility from the loop. Water and sewer services are available in a variety of areas on this property. There's 2 wastewater availabilities. There's a 8-inch pressurized main that runs north-south on the property and bisects it. And then there's an 18-inch gravity main along the western subdivision, which is west of Loop 363. And then a 6-inch gravity main along Lorraine Drive, which is on the other side of Loop 363. So definite wastewater services accessible on this property and available. There's also a 16-inch water line that runs east to west that bisects the property east of Loop 363, and then a 16-inch main line along Tower Road. So Water services are readily available as well. For the thoroughfare plan and trails master plan, no proposed changes are being made, but Loop 363 is a highway with a thoroughfare connector trail. And then there is a proposed greenway trail that runs along the western edge of this property, abutting the railroad that is underway for a proposal for development with this project as well. For public notification, 8 notices were sent out. We haven't received any notices in agreement or disagreement. And then legal notice of the hearing was posted in the Temple Daily Telegram on December 23rd. This is in compliance with all of our future development plan and surrounding land uses, and public facilities are available, and it's not in an applicable neighborhood planning district. Staff does recommend approval of the rezoning request from light industrial and agricultural to PDLI, subject to the following conditions. What I'm gonna review with you, the majority of them are all in the staff report and in the packet online, so we'll just kind of highlight some of these. Minor site plan modifications may be administratively approved. Site design and setbacks, there's a minimum setback of 100 feet from all surrounding properties, and that is really to protect the abutting residential that is on the northeast of this project. The building placement and orientation shall locate loading areas, mechanical yards, and services away from those residential lots to the extent practicable. And then site design shall incorporate graded berms, fencing, vegetation, landscaping buffers to minimize the view of the buildings and the development itself and the mechanical equipment away from the adjacent residential. Landscaping and screening, so berms and landscaping locations and dimensions will be detailed and demonstrated through that building permit with that additional site plan. A photometric plan shall be provided so that no light trespass goes over to the residential area, so it doesn't disturb adjacent residential properties. And then the project will use mechanical systems to minimize the use of water to the extent practicable. Water usage disposal and necessary improvements will be addressed through a future utility services agreement. Additional conditions, just to highlight the noise mitigation, there is a lot more of that noise mitigation requirements in the staff report and in the packet. But in essence, the owner shall use and cause to be used commercially reasonable efforts in design and construction and operation to minimize the noise to adjacent properties. This does abut a residential development that is also, more homes are about to be built in that area, so we really wanted to ensure that they are protected not just from noise, but from sound, the reverberation, any light trespass, so it doesn't interfere with their right to their enjoyment of their property. There is going to be a post-construction verification, so prior to any issuances of certificate of occupancy per phase, the company shall provide a post-construction acoustical report. If any exceedances are identified, they are required to have an additional mitigation plan, and that shall be implemented before any certificates of occupancy are issued. We do have some enforcement remedies. So if the city does receive a noise complaint and it is validated that that noise has caused material distress or discomfort to any persons of ordinary sensibilities, the parties shall consult and negotiate in a good faith to determine the appropriate resolution that is commercially reasonable within a 60-day time frame. This did go to the Planning and Zoning Board for a recommendation. They did recommend approval 8-0 at their January 5th meeting. And I'm happy to answer any questions should you have any, and the developer is available should you have any additional questions as well.
Thank you, Ms. Strickland. Counsel, anything for Ms. Strickland? I know it seems like a lot, but we've gone over this and over.
Yes.
I think the council members almost could give that presentation
Probably.
verbatim, so. Yes, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Item 6 is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on it may do so. Just ask you to step to the podium.
Good Good evening again, council. Alan Lytle, I live here in Temple. I'm sure you've also, aside from learning about the officer in Coppice Cove, been watching the news about the data center in, I believe it's Lampasas, that all the residents are complaining about the possibility of noise, waste of water, et cetera, et cetera. I noticed that this has a lot of safeguards, but if you built the building, installed the equipment, and been running it, and then you find out, okay, it's making too much noise, or it's, water's running in the wrong place, whatever, it's kind of late to make any remedies to fix it. I know it says, you know, the company's supposed to do something commercially reasonable. Who decides what's reasonable? If it doesn't solve my problem of too much noise in my neighborhood, in my house, and you know, who decides, okay, that's the best we can do, sorry, you'll have to live with it? Who decides that, and what does that do to our residents who want to have a safe, quiet, productive residence? Thank you.
Those are good points. Within the agreement with the client, Alan, there are not just reasonable levels, but there are certain decibel levels that are included in the noise. And that's where reasonableness comes from, is from what the decibel levels are. So there's some specific numbers that are tied to that reasonableness.
And I've seen those, and I've been to the P and Z's with this one. And my problem is, okay, those are all, too far away from the microphone?
Yeah, thank you.
Those are all well and good, but until you actually build it, how do you know how much noise it's gonna make? I mean, yes, you got the test, you've got the, other things that have shown the noise that should be coming from these machines, but how do you know that's gonna be accurate until you actually build the thing? And unfortunately, by that time, it's kinda late.
Well, it's not. So the process is that it will, it'll be engineered to a certain noise level, but then it will be metered after it's actually been built to assure that it has met those engineered specifications. And if it hasn't, then it's up to the client to remedy that to the city's satisfaction, which is the levels within the ordinance.
Okay.
We're watching them, Alan.
I
We're
hope
watching
so.
them.
Because the one in, I think it's Lampasas County, that was getting an awful lot of attention on the TV, you know.
Okay.
And I'm afraid that I don't want us to get the same kind of attention.
Right, understood. Thank you for that. Anyone else? All right, I will close the public hearing. In council, I'll entertain a motion on item 6. We have a motion by Councilmember Grant. We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Walker. Council, please cast your vote. Item 6 passes 5 votes to 0. And as always, Alan, we appreciate your thoughts around that. Item 7 is the first reading of the public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a rezoning request from Single Family 1 to Planned Development Single Family 1 to allow a reduced side yard setback from 5 feet to 1 foot for a stairwell and to allow an accessory dwelling unit on .37 plus or minus acres in the L.R. Taylor Addition Block 14, Lot PT3, located in City of Temple, Bell County, Texas, addressed as 605 North 9th. Are you going to address the 1 foot versus 3 foot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
You're up.
sorry. So just to kind of, I'll address that in the, throughout the presentation.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
just a little bit of background. This subject property is located in the North Central Historic District. This addition request, they had a garage that was constructed that needed to be demolished, and in turn of, rather than just replacing the garage, they wanted to replace the garage with an accessory dwelling unit, which is not allowed by right. In any of our zoning districts, it does require a planned development. And then the replacement garage structure itself is within the side yard setback. It doesn't exceed that. But the ingress egress to the living quarters above does encroach into the side yard setback. hence the request for the reduced side yard setback. Originally, staff did request the 1 foot. Just sometimes during construction, things can shift, so it was to allow them the most flexibility. But at the planning and zoning meeting, it brought up that a 3 foot would be better to allow human movement in the event that there was a fire and they were able to get between the abutting masonry wall out to another area of the land. So we did make that our recommendation, but the legal description was already written and that's how it was noticed. So I do apologize for the confusion, and the builder
You know,
said that.
that's not confusing. That's good. I mean, it's a safety issue. I know it had to be read in that way, but no apologies necessary.
Thank you, sir. And the builder also confirmed that there is plenty of room to put the stairwell 3 feet away from the masonry wall without shifting the building at all. So that was adequate. So we definitely appreciated that. The site itself has an abutting alley, but it doesn't have any alley access. This is in the historic district, so it did have to go to the Historic Preservation Board for approval, and it was approved at their November 19th meeting. And then it does comply with the Historic Neighborhood Planning District as well for preservation and additions that are architecturally significant. For zoning itself, it's all in single-family 1, which does not allow accessory dwelling units, so we are requesting a plan development with single-family 1. For the comprehensive plan, this area is in downtown transition, which does ask for higher density and intensity, and then it is surrounded by urban residential, which just asks for residential with urban character. The surrounding properties have the same and similar designation as well. So this is in compliance with our comp plan, and hence the rationale for approval. So for some site photos, the upper left-hand corner, that just shows the original garage that was demolished. It's no longer there, and as you can see in the subsequent photos, that structure itself has been removed. And then you can see the proximity to the masonry wall. It is a solid masonry wall with no additional access, and then that's a view from the alley itself. They are likely to put that fence back up, and whether they choose to have alley access or not, that hasn't been determined at this time. So for some surrounding properties, I do just want to draw your attention to the upper left-hand corner. That is the property to the north. It directly abuts this property. It's only 2 properties on 1 block. It itself does have a carriage house with comparable ingress-egress. And then at the bottom picture is the property directly across the street to the south with an existing carriage house. So carriage houses are historically significant and accurate in this area. So it is in line with the historical significance of the request. And then this is their site plan. You can see their renderings on the right-hand side of the garage will be there, and then the living quarters will be on top. And then on the left-hand side, you can see that stairwell access, so that gives them the access to the living quarters above. Water and sewer services are available. There's adequate sewer. There's 2 means of sewer. One is in the alley, and then there's a 8-inch line along French. And then there's water services available along French and in the alley via a 6-inch service line. So for the thoroughfare and trails plan, the 9th Street is a current local road, but it is designated as a future neighborhood collector. So there is an existing 5-foot sidewalk along that portion of the road. No changes are going to be made to it. And then along French Avenue, it is identified as a pedestrian connector, so future project could have a sidewalk that will connect, but there's no sidewalk on French Avenue at this time. 10 notifications were sent out to surrounding property owners. We did receive 1 in disagreement. There was no additional information. It was just a disagreement. And the notice of the hearing was posted in the Temple Daily Telegram on December 23rd. This request is in compliance with all of our future development plans. Surrounding uses and zoning and public facilities are available, and it's also in line with our neighborhood plan. So staff does recommend approval of the rezoning request with the following conditions. We have just a couple: that there's only 1 accessory dwelling unit permitted on this lot, And there's a minimum side yard setback of 3 feet that's allowed for the stairwell on the north side of the structure, and that the stairwell must be made of non-combustible material. This did go to P&Z on January 5th, and they did recommend approval. However, they did make that change from the 1 foot to the 3 foot. Staff, of course, is in line with that, and their approval was 8-0. And I'm happy to answer any questions, should you have any.
Thank you. Counsel, anything for Ms. Strickland? Item 7 is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak may do so. Please step to the podium and state your name.
You're getting your steps in today.
Get my steps in today. Thank you. Alan Lytle, live here in Temple. Just a quick question, possibly for Kathy. If you approve this as written, then the next guy that gets this property could build one just 1 foot away from the property line, right? So you need to amend this when you approve it to say 3 feet? She's shaking her head yes, so remember that.
Thank you, Alan.
Whoever approves it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Very good. At this time, I will close the public hearing on item 7. And council, I'll entertain a motion, and y'all heard instruction from Alan about that.
I'll move approval and very much so take Mr. Lytle's, include Mr. Lytle's recommendation.
Second it.
Kathy, is that enough? Since Alan's not on council, is
3 feet.
Okay.
3 feet, there you go. Thank you. Okay, very good. We have a motion by Councilmember Kirkendall. We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Walker. Council, please cast your vote. I don't, he could do it. Yeah, he's an alternate. You're an alternate council member. Elected by these council members.
Does he get the same raise we get?
He does. We'll double it. As I try to get the meeting back under control, item 7 passes 5 votes to 0. Moving on to item 8, the first reading in a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a conditional use permit to allow retail sales of all alcoholic beverages for off-premise consumption and repealing an existing conditional use permit, ordinance number 2001-2799, located at Airport Road Edition, Block 1, Lot 1, in the city of Temple, Bell County, Texas, addressed as 8730 Airport Road. Mr. Deckman.
All right, good evening, Mayor, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
So we are back in, and I'm back with another conditional use permit for a package store.
There we go.
So as you mentioned, this is out on Airport Road. It's located up there near the Cloverleaf, as you see at the top of the photo, and adjacent to that Texas National Guard facility. You see that motor pool out there. It's in general retail zoning, which requires a conditional use permit for the package store, but general retail does allow retail sales of beer and wine. This is for a convenience store combination retail building. As you see, the surrounding zoning in green is mostly ag. The National Guard facility is in purple. And there's some adjacent commercial properties. There's an office building. There's another liquor store right next door. And then across the road, and you'll see in the photos, there's a business that sells some kind of prefab metal buildings and carports. So you see in the larger diagram is the overall site plan with the landscaped areas, the parking, the building itself, the gas pumps for the convenience store, dumpster in the rear right corner, and then the inset shows you the breakdown between the two halves of the building. The smaller suite is the package store, AKA a liquor store. The larger part is the convenience store. They are exceeding the landscape requirements with 27% of the area with either grass, shrubs, or trees. They're exceeding the parking requirement. 20 are required. They're showing 27. Mentioned the location of the fuel sales, the canopy, the dumpsters in accordance with the solid waste policy for those enclosures. As near and dear to my heart is the mobility and the transportation. They're providing cross access to the parking area to the north so that minimizes maybe the number of in and outs that someone might have to do. So we like access management. A few other details. TABC restricts a package store from having an internal door to a neighboring suite, and then on the site plan, you see that's a solid wall. The UDC allows pickup windows, but this does not have a pickup window, and it's not within 300 feet of any of the protected uses, churches, schools, or hospitals. And the last thing, there is an existing conditional use permit that would allow on-premise consumption back when this was a dance club several years back. And it would conflict to have a CUP that would allow both the on-premise consumption and the off-premise consumption. So this action also includes repeal of that older conditional use permit. As you see, they've got the building permits approved for the retail building, and they're moving forward with that. You can see a little bit in the upper right photo, you can see in the rear, there's a sign for that other adjacent liquor store, and there's I believe it's a tax preparation business. On the lower left, you're looking back up the hill on Airport Road towards the National Guard facility, but it's so up and beyond the hill, you can't see it from there. And then on the lower right is looking across with that prefab building sales. As the comprehensive plan shows, this is future land uses corridor mixed use. So this is certainly a busy corridor and mix of uses and higher intensity. Having the convenience store, fuel sales, and possibly the package store would be appropriate in this category. And State Highway 36, also a TxDOT facility, a major arterial, and commercial businesses and retail businesses along the major arterial are appropriate. So this is compliant with the comprehensive plan. There is a 6-inch water line along Airport Road, but there is not a sewer line close enough or downhill enough to be feasibly make a connection where a lift station would make sense. So they did receive approval from the Bell County Health Department to put in the septic system. And so that is compliant with the access for utilities. As I mentioned, this is a busy area, well over 10,000, 16,000, 17,000 trips a day around that Cloverleaf, depending on which leg you're traveling around at what time of day. The liquor store is not going to be the bigger traffic generator. That's the convenience store. The gas station is going to attract more fuel sales. But we're here to discuss the liquor store. That's the conditional use permit, but it all goes hand in hand. And the volume of traffic there now with 17,000 is the highest count on that leg that's near the counter station, just happens to be near this retail area, is 17,000. A major arterial capacity through our comp plan is stated to be around 20 to 40,000. So we're still under capacity. There were 41 crashes in the last 5 years. Tried to keep the study area relatively close. We know there was that horrible accident with the oversized load recently. There was also a motorcycle fatality a little further up on State Highway 36. So for those y'all that read the newspaper, yeah, I'm definitely aware of those. We had 10 fatalities in Temple last year, which is a decrease from past years. That's good news that there's fewer, but it's not great news because people are still dying on the roads. So please be safe out there. Fortunately, in this area around this proposed conditional use permit, no fatal, no serious injuries, 12 minor injuries, so a lot of fender benders, and mostly related to speeding and not paying attention. So a conditional use permit, council can approve or deny a conditional use permit. They can deny or revoke one if it's a nuisance, if it's incompatible with the neighboring properties, if it's causing a threat to health and welfare. And we discussed that the two conditional use permits would be incompatible with each other. So this action, you can repeal the one and, if you choose, approve the other by that same mechanism in Chapter 3 of the UDC. And then, of course, the site plan, which was shown to you earlier, that accompanies the ordinance. It is compatible with the criteria that we look at all these for. And we sent out 7 notices to the surrounding property. We've received 0 notices back, either in agreement or disagreement. And the public hearing was, the notice of the public hearing was published on December 22nd in accordance with state law and local ordinance. These are the approval conditions. So compliance with that site plan, that is binding. Compliance with all of our codes and state codes and policies that apply to the sales of alcohol. That It runs with the property. It may be revoked if it turns out they are a bad neighbor. Minor variations to that site plan, if a couple parking spots maybe need to shift, that's something that the planning director could approve. But if there's a major change, that's going to require a second round of review and approval, both through P&Z and the council. So staff recommends repeal of the existing CUP, approval of the requested CUP to allow retail sales of alcoholic beverages at A730 Airport Road, subject to the conditions I just presented. And at the January 5th meeting, P&Z voted 8-0 to recommend the repeal and the approval. That concludes my brief, and I will take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Deckman. Counsel, anything for Jason? Item 8, hold on. I looked back to remind myself. Item 8 is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak may do so. Just ask you to step to the podium. There being none, council, I will close the public hearing on item 8 and entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve item 8.
We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Walker. We have a second by Councilmember Grant. Council, please cast your vote. 8 passes 5 votes to 0. Item 9 is the first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the release of .351 plus or minus acres in right-of-way described as being attractive land situated in Maximo Merino Survey, abstract number 14, and being part of the West Avenue C between South 9th Street and South 11th Street in original town of Temple, Bell County, Texas. Hey, Kyle.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening. As he said, this is for right-of-way abandonment, and this is for an undeveloped portion of Avenue C. It may have been developed at one point, but hasn't been for as far back as I could find. Transportation Code, Chapter 311 is what gives the city authority over the streets and alleys, and Section 007 allows us to vacate, abandon, or close a street or alley, but it requires that a public hearing be held. So at the one that's at issue today is Avenue C, and formerly Avenue H is what it was called. But it's approximately 3.351 acres. It is already currently used as the parking lot of an Encore facility, office facility. This will allow the title to be cleaned up so that they can more fully use their property. And when looking at the history, the alley on the Encore property and the street that connects to West Avenue C were abandoned way back in the 70s or 60s. So it was probably meant to be taken care of at that time, and they just missed it. So this will clean up that issue. As always, it does have to be sold at fair market value to Encore, and we'll get a broker's opinion or appraisal to verify that. So staff recommendation is to approve the abandonment of the .351 plus or minus acres of West Avenue C between South 9th Street and South 11th Street. And I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you, sir. Counsel, anything for Mr. Nuttall? Item 9 is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak may do so. We just ask you to step to the podium as usual. There being none, I will close the public hearing on item 9. Council, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve item 9 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Pilkington. We have a second by Councilmember Kirkendall. Council, please cast your vote. Item 9 passes 5 votes to 0. Item 10 is to consider adopting a resolution accepting the donation of 2 drainage tracts from Boker's LLC necessary for improvements on the proposed Meadow Lake Phase 1 subdivision.
Thank you. And this is out of our new purchasing policy. This will be dedication of tracts for drainage. And typically, I'd probably include this on the consent agenda, but we were still discussing with the developer about what the actual bounds were for what we were going to accept. So initially, it had been for these two tracks, Tract F and Tract E. But if you notice, Tract E has a 250-foot wide electrical utility easement through it, as well as a 100-foot wide Atmos gas easement through it. So we were discussing and said we don't really want to take care of that area when it's not going to serve the city. We continued negotiations after we had already noticed this, and we did come to an agreement with the recommendation we were going to make to you tonight to accept that Tract E, but not accept the easements. So they have provided us and updated the plat and stated that they were agreeable as of Tuesday. So this is what the recommendation is that we accept that Tract E without the easements, which will make it now Tract E and Tract H, as well as the Tract F drainage easement as shown below there. And I am here if you have any questions, but that is the staff recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Council?
Can they just say then donation of 3 drainage tracts instead of 2, just to clarify for the record?
Yes, we can say donation of the 3 tracks as presented in the.
Council, if there's nothing further for Kyle, I'll entertain a motion on item 10.
Make a motion to approve item 10 with a donation of 3 drainage tracts.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Walker, a second by Councilmember Grant. Council, please cast your vote. Item 10 passes 5 votes to 0. Item 11 is to consider adopting a resolution pursuant to Chapter 2206, Government Code 2206.053, finding that that .2004 acres situated in the Maximo Merino Survey, abstract number 14, Bell County, Texas, is necessary for the continued operation of Nettles Park, authorizing the use of eminent domain to condemn the property and authorize the purchase price in an estimated amount of $5,000. Mr. Bandis.
Good evening, council. I have 2 items for you tonight. This first one concerns Nettles Park. So just to give you a project overview, and I apologize for not having, I have some overhead photos later. Nettles Park is a small park that's actually on the interior of a block between North 11th Street, Royal Avenue, Park Street, and I'm not quite remembering the east boundary, but here you can see the proposed improvements to Nettles Park. In order to make these improvements, we need to own the entire park, and during this improvement process, it was found there's actually a corner of the park that is just kind of lost to history, and we can't prove city ownership, so we need this condemnation to clean up our title and make sure that we're good to place improvements in that area. Here you can see the overhead. That pink shaded area is, we don't know who owns it. So at this point, we have had 3 attorneys and a title company conduct a title search, and nobody has been able to figure out where the owners or where this parcel got lost in all the sales and the plats that were done throughout history here.
So if we're paying $5,000 for something, who are we paying it to?
So we will pay it into the court.
Okay.
So in this case, we have unknown heirs, and I can speak to this later also, but generally with unknown heirs, we will, when we file our condemnation petition, we will publish that in the newspaper. And then the court, if nobody comes forward to stake a claim, the court will appoint an attorney ad litem that will act in the interest of the unknown heirs. We will go through our special commissioner's process as we normally do. We will deposit the award with the court, and then it will be up to the court if anybody ever comes forward to claim that money. And I believe if nobody does, I think it escates to the state, if I remember correctly. if that money's never claimed. So in this instance, it was appraised at 3,492. I just gave us that little buffer in that motion in case the special commissioners find that our appraisal was inaccurate or that it's actually worth more.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. As I discussed earlier, the property is necessary for us to continue with our improvements. This area, at least in the satellite imagery going back to 1995, has always been treated as part of the park. There has been that swing set, it's been mowed. This is just cleaning up our title issues, so that way we can better serve the residents there with their community park. As I said, we don't know who the owners are. It's gone through 3 attorneys and a title company, and we still can't figure it out. In this case, we expect the condemnation process to take 3 to 6 months. This is gonna depend on the availability of the court and on special commissioners getting appointed and on having that attorney ad litem appointed in their schedule to do the hearings. This is our standard condemnation process slide, just to give everybody a reminder. So if you authorize the use of eminent domain, we will file a condemnation petition with the county court. The judge will appoint 3 county commissioners. At that point, we will also need to publish notice of this action because it's unknown heirs. We have nobody that we can individually notice. The special commissioners will then hold a hearing to determine the value of the property. We will pay that to the special commissioners, and at that point, the city gains the right of possession. And staff does recommend the use of eminent domain authority in this case. Are there any questions?
Council, anything?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Council, anything for Mr. Bandis? All right, then at this, I don't know what I'm doing up here. At this time, I'll entertain a motion on item 11, and as pointed out, you do have your special motion language at your seat.
I move that the city of Temple authorizes the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire fee simple title to 0.2004 acres being situated in the Maximo Marino Survey, abstract number 14, Bell County, Texas, being a portion of Lot 2 of the subdivision of LD Bristow Estate, described in volume 550, page 636, deed records of Bell County, Texas, for the planned improvements and continued use of Nettles Park.
Second it, as a kid who loved to play at that park. I'm happy to second that motion.
Very good. We have a motion by Councilmember Pilkington. We have a second by Councilmember Walker. Council, please cast your vote.
My mouse isn't working.
Aye. That motion passes 5 votes to 0.
Oh, I've got it on the other thing, right.
Is the only access to that park down that little drainage channel? That's it?
Houses that
Yeah.
backs up to it,
Yeah.
and most of them have gates to get in, but it's a hidden park.
Yeah. Very, very nice. I live right by it and I never go down there.
Growing up, it had all of those metal playground things, and the slide was always in the sun, and
Yeah.
it really took a chance.
3rd-degree burns.
Yeah.
Toughen you up.
Yep.
All right, item 12 is to consider adopting a resolution. I'm not about to read the same one, am I?
No.
Consider adopting a resolution pursuant to Chapter 2206, Government Code, Section 2206.053, finding that one temporary construction easement situated in the William Haddon Survey, abstract number 392, Bell County, Texas, is necessary for the construction of the Northwest Little Elm Upsize Project, authorizing the use of eminent domain to condemn the property and to authorize the expenditure of funds in the amount to be determined as just compensation by the appointed special commissioners, currently estimated to be an amount of $4,000. Mr. Bandis.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Skip, this is they're all in the same presentation. So you'll notice tonight, this one is one that doesn't come up often, where we are asking for the exercise of eminent domain authority for a temporary construction easement rather than a permanent fee simple interest. So just to give you some overview, the Northwest Little Elm wastewater line, it's not that old of a project. I think it was approximately 10 years ago it was originally put in. It is now being upsized because of the rapid growth on the north side of Temple. That clouded area is the property we are discussing today, there at the north edge of the screen. So here, that orange shaded area is the surveyed boundaries of the temporary construction easement. It is approximately 1.005 acres, and it was appraised recently, less than a month ago, at $3,153 for a 12-month temporary construction easement. That blue outer line is the parcel boundaries, and there you can see the owner, Mr. Nicholas Blount. This temporary easement is necessary because we are doing this upsize project. The existing permanent easement is not wide enough to accommodate the construction activity. So we need this temporary easement in order to get our equipment and our personnel out there to complete that work. Eminent domain is necessary. We started working this parcel in July, and at that time we did have good communication both with the owners and with their attorney. And then this fall, around September or October, there was some things that came up in the owner's personal life, and we lost all contact. We haven't been able to continue negotiations, but construction on the project has continued, and now we are at a point where if we don't condemn this temporary construction easement, it's going to bring the project to a halt. There's no other way to construct this project without this temporary easement. In order to meet that current timeline, we are requesting eminent domain, and we have already spoken with outside counsel, and we are hoping to get special commissioners scheduled before March, because that is when construction is expected to reach this property. Again, once we get our petition filed and we're able to schedule special commissioners, after the hearing, once we pay the award, we gain the right to possession. And we have worked with our outside counsel, and at this time, we're confident that we can meet that timeline without having to halt construction. So staff does recommend exercising eminent domain in this instance. Are there any questions?
Counsel, anything for Jake? Then I will I will entertain a motion on item 12 in special motion language at your desk.
Move that the City of Temple authorizes the use of the power of eminent domain to acquire a temporary construction easement of approximately 1.011 acres, being situated in the William Haddon Survey, abstract number 392, Bell County, Texas, being a portion of a called 32.23 acre tract conveyed to Nicholas Blount and wife Leslie Blount in document 201705130, official public records, Bell County, Texas, for the construction of the Northwest Little Elm upsize project.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Kirkendall. We have a second by Councilmember Pilkington. Council, please cast your vote.
Tricks you because that's what's on the screen.
Okay.
Item 12 passes.
Done it before.
Item 12 passes 5 votes to 0. It's currently about 6:20. Thank you all for attending, and